And I know a bunch of really successful entrepreneurs that have a real day job. So like I said, test the market and then grow your business during your off hours. And yes, that might mean you're working, 2 full-time jobs, but that's how you prove it works. And then if you can get your entrepreneur business to a point where it does facilitate being able to cover all your life's expenses. So I'm Brian, the Mac Man from sellermac.com, and my business buys and sells Apple devices. Everything from Macs and iPads, iPhones, every single thing that Apple makes. So I started, selling stuff on the sidewalk by age 10. My first thing was selling jewelry that I was making. So I always kind of had this knack for trying to make something and create value. In college, I started a little bit of a business that was buying and selling electronics and people's cell phones. And it was really that people were too lazy and didn't want to take the hassle to do it on their own. And I was driven and I wanted to, make that money so I could go ahead and do something with it in my life. And I've always been driven by helping people. And that's the kind of way I look at this. My college experience ended without a job. It was a really weird senior year. I was down at a school called Tulane in New Orleans, and this huge hurricane Katrina hit, and it displaced everyone. And when we finally came back second semester, didn't have the opportunity to interview for jobs because none of the companies that would normally come on campus. So I came home and I just started an eBay business, and it was very much organic. I was going around and just finding stuff to sell, and I wasn't that focused on my niche in electronics. I just want to get my hands on anything I could. And in 2008, I realized that wasn't something I was super passionate about. My passion really lied with Apple. And I think that every entrepreneur needs to focus on their passion. The only way to stay up late at night and wake up early in the morning again and keep pushing on the weekends and do the best you can is you have to have the passion for it. Otherwise, ultimately, you'll probably just give up. So I focused on the Apple products, started building my business there. And then I realized in 2009, I needed to get a more inbound sales channel. So that's when I launched sellyourmac.com. And since then, I've been growing my business basically every single year organically. Sellyourmac.com is all about giving people cash back for their used Apple products and then finding those Apple products a new home. So someone, they upgrade their 2015 MacBook Pro to get the latest one. Let's say we give them, $400 for their old Mac. They go buy a new one. We take that product in, we wipe it, we refurb it if needed. It might need a new battery or a new hard drive or something like that. And then we're going to turn around and resell it. Our new sales e-commerce site is called renewedmacs.com. And we're guaranteeing everything for at least a year on there. So you have the same warranty you get when you buy new. And that's one of the things that we saw was an issue, is that the market was a little bit scared about buying used product. Our initial customers, came organically through like Facebook and Craigslist posts. I was starting off just selling these out of my house. So I was just posting online on different channels I could. I also launched a website called I Sell Mac, and I was getting a little bit of, traction on there from SEO. I've always been focused kind of on SEO. So I knew when I launched my real site, sellyourmac.com, that I would focus on the SEO portion. And that's driven a tremendous amount of business for us. If you search for sell Mac or sell MacBook Pro, sell used Mac, kind of any of those Mac terms that you might search when you're trying to sell a product, we're typically number 1 or number 2 in the world. And that drives a lot of our business. I got frauded really bad a couple times, and it almost completely bankrupted the business. And if it wasn't for some friends and family support, I would probably be in a very different place. And I really caution people when they're doing deals that are very large, protect yourself. If you're going to wire someone, make sure there's something in place that's going to protect you. Maybe you can put in escrow or something like that, avoid a chance potential bankruptcy. I was in a terrible mindset after that. It was really hard to come back from. I was fearful for my livelihood, my company I had created, and I did have to borrow a little bit of money at the time that took me 5 years to pay off. That's how big the fraud was. It really rocked my world. Being an entrepreneur to me is really, focusing on making good to yourself. And what I mean by that is you're not putting your livelihood in someone else's hands. My day-to-day life is dependent on what I'm doing, what my team is doing. So I'm not taking the risk on, working for another party and not knowing what might happen to their business and how they might react to me. So take things in your hands. Maybe don't do it right away if it's not the right time, but if you have that entrepreneur spirit, I definitely encourage people to, get a hold of that and, create something yourself. One of my worst fears as an entrepreneur is that I'm never doing good enough. And on the one hand, that is a good fear because it drives me to do better. On the other hand, it leaves me sometimes second guessing myself and not knowing if I'm doing the right job. I definitely am, happy about where I'm at, and I do celebrate the wins, but just never stopping to think that I've, made it or that I'm in a good place. Always keep pushing forward. I would say my biggest achievement as an entrepreneur is not my awards. It's really the fact that I'm able to give back to so many underserved students. And I've been doing this for, a decade now. Like last year, let's say we gave out, 30 Macs. I want to make that, 100 and then 200. How many Macs can we give out per year to these students that are really deserving? And it'll create a momentum to help them out in their lives, to get jobs, to learn better at school, and have a better family life. And I think that'll just keep on trickling down and helping out, more generations of people. And that's my goal. One growth hack I've had recently is trying to grow my LinkedIn engagement. And in the last year or so, I've been really focusing on sharing more quality content on there and being consistent. And I think consistent is the number one word I would put out there for people starting on LinkedIn, but it has to be unbelievably consistent for the algorithm to then give you more engagement and more views. And then besides just the posting, you need to be engaging with your audience. If someone makes a comment, you have to follow up. Also, go through and search content for industries that you like. So for me, I'm going up to the search bar, typing in Apple, clicking on content, and then first connections, and engaging with all the content that I see that has an Apple related post. And that'll end up bringing so many people back to you and then growing your network and then potential for business. And there really is a lot of business to do on LinkedIn. I feel like I'm just scraping the surface right now on the social selling aspect. A couple of years ago, I actually made $1 million sale off a LinkedIn post. So that was pretty exciting. And that kind of got me juiced up to know that there was that potential. I would say a few tips are to look at the timing of your launch. Timing is almost everything when it comes to business. People's needs change all the time, but you can kind of look a couple years ahead. And if you can plan for that need, then your business is going to be probably very fruitful in the future. Another thing would be is to hire smart people. You can't do it on your own. So grow the people around you, grow them up, make sure that they have a good knowledge of your business, and that's going to set you up for success. If you're reluctant to bring your idea into reality, make sure it's something you're very passionate about. If it's just an idea that might make money, but you're not passionate, it's going to quickly fade. Ask your audience, is this a good idea? Would you buy this? And stuff like that. And, really use your network to your advantage to see if it's a potential product. And usually you can test the market for almost no money, whether it's on social media or, asking friends and family, would they buy it? And, don't give it away for free because that's not going to really prove it. It's definitely tough to take the leap. And I would say for most people is to start the business, on your nights and weekends. And I know a bunch of really successful entrepreneurs that have a real day job. So like I said, test the market and then grow your business during your off hours. And yes, that might mean you're working, 2 full-time jobs, but that's how you prove it works. And then if you can get your entrepreneur business to a point where it does facilitate being able to cover all your life's expenses, then you have the mindset that you can let go of that salary job and you'll be okay. But you don't always have to take the risk before you figure out the business model is going to work. So test it. I definitely think branding is very important. As you notice, I'm wearing blue. Everything I do is blue. Tell people what you're doing through your brand story. Sharing little tidbits of how you got started and where you got to where you are. People are going to eat that up. So live your brand would be my message. Thank you to all the viewers out there for watching the Founder X series by Designhill. I hope you got some great takeaways to go live your entrepreneur journey, and don't hesitate to reach out to me if I can help out at all. And then if you want to find us on social media, my personal LinkedIn handle is Brian Burke, the number 4. And I would love to connect with you guys, and please engage with me. It would be my pleasure if I can help you out to grow on LinkedIn.